Hey, critical analysis, as I mentioned in a few other videos, your mastery skills assessments or your labs portion of the class would be done in separate videos as to not make one video really long because I know they're already kind of lengthy since I've squeezed in a bunch of the lecture. So this is your first mastery skills assessment video and it's coming to you correlating with week 4 of the semester. So in your syllabus, if you see under your week 4 kind of to submit, there is mastery skill, determining meaning from context, because that is the chapter 2 concept. And so it aligns nicely with the chapter 2 content area of our text. And so this is the perfect time to do this. So by the time you watch this video, so I'm going to go back under the content tab, you will be able to see this. It'll be in color and you'll be able to click on it. Right now it's hidden from you all because as I record this, we're still in week 3 and I didn't want anyone getting in there too early and completing things without having kind of the proper guidance or, overview of mastery skills. So if you click in, you'll see that there's a whole list of your skills. And there are some videos in there from previous semesters that I'll go back in and update as needed. But we are going to be focusing on the very first one. And again, you're only going to see one skill at a time as to not overwhelm you. And then eventually I might even hide the skills as I see that everyone has completed it. I just have students in my critical analysis class, even face-to-face, say sometimes when they see all the skills in there, they get confused or overwhelmed or whatnot. So I kind of monitor and see what skills everyone has completed, and then I hide that skill so no one thinks they have to go back in and complete it. So for week 4, chapter 2, it coincides with determining meaning from context. So from our intro video and from your textbook, hopefully you recall that you have 10 skills in here. So again, they're all in here. And the magic number is 80%. And that's not an 80% on every single skill, it's the average of all 10 skills together. So let's say you do go into this first skill, and while I'm going to guide you through a lot of it, I'm going to leave you to do some of it on your own as well, and that's kind of how I'll walk through most of them. So let's say on any of these skills, you go in and you get a 60% on option 1, because if you click in, you're always going to have 2 options. You don't have to take them both, but you have them there. Let's say you do post-test 1 and you get a 60 and you're not happy with that. So you can go in post-test 2 and you get an 80 and it'll take your higher score. Well, then that kind of leaves room later on if you do poorly on another skill. Let's say you get a 50 and then a 60. It still helps you balance out because remember, it's the average of all 10 skills together. So ideally, you want to score as best as you can, but knowing that you have that buffer. So today's video, I'm actually going to go to post-test 2. I just like this one a little bit better. It has you apply the skill a little bit more. That's not to say that if you click into post-test 1 and like it more, you can go ahead and do that one. I just prefer post-test 2. So I'm going to click in and it'll say, okay, hey, you've got to go in and it'll have you begin. I had clicked in a minute ago. So you'll say begin. And this is how all of these will be set up. You'll see questions, some of them, because this one is just dealing with vocabulary, they're just one sentence long, but others will have, paragraphs that you'll respond to. So hopefully by this point, you have already watched the chapter 2 video because it does go over the concept of determining meaning from context. And this just applies those ideas and those concepts. So that's why you'll see, you should kind of already know some of which this refers to. So as I said, there are 10 questions, and I am going to guide you through a lot of these. I'm going to answer several of them, and then I'm going to leave a few of them up for you to answer on your own. So it can kind of be a mix and match. We'll work together a little bit, and then you have to practice on your own a little bit as well. So let's go ahead and start. And you'll see in this one, for 2 questions in a row, they're using the same sentence. So questions 1 and 2 use the sentence, her teaching is often described as dynamic because she regularly updates her teaching practice to adapt to the needs of her students. It is often described as dynamic. So in this sentence, dynamic means. So to me, I'm reading this, and if I'm not familiar with the word dynamic, but it uses the phrase, she regularly updates her teaching practice. To me, that means she is doing something that is going to take a lot of time, energy, and she changes her teaching practice because she adapts, which means changing. So energetic and changing would be my definition of the word dynamic in that sentence. Question 2 is using the same sentence, and it says, which words are most helpful in understanding that word? Well, I kind of, as I described it, I said it, the fact that she regularly updates lets me know that she's changing things. And so regularly updates is the context that helps me understand that meaning. Okay, so let's do questions 3 and 4 together. New sentence, or in this case, a little bit longer than a sentence. Jamie discussed different types of colleges with her friends and family and thought long and hard about what she wanted from college life. She decided that she wanted to go to a university that valued real-world experience as much as academic knowledge. When she was applying to colleges, she only applied to those schools that promoted an experiential approach to learning. What does experiential mean? So, in here, it says that she valued real-world experience as much as academic knowledge. So she only applied to schools that promoted this approach. So I know she's looking for real-world experience. So in this case, she's providing experience. Experiential means providing experience. And again, for question 4, kind of already answered that because I talked about it in my justification. She values real-world experience. She wants experiences along with the classroom knowledge, so kind of like service learning type situations. Okay, let's look at number 5. Education is often viewed by tyrannical governments as the very thing that could inspire an insurrection within the population. History has proven that the most vigorous resistance to controlling governments has come from student-led movements. In this passage, insurrection means. So here I'm looking at context, tyrannical governments, inspire an insurrection, resistance, student-led. So, and this is actually timely. These were written, I think, 6 months ago or so, but we heard this word used a lot not so long ago with what happened at the Capitol. Every news station was kind of throwing this word around, and so based on that context, and then this context, we know that our insurrection is a rebellion. And so how do we know it, based on this particular context? What words were most helpful? We know an insurrection is a rebellion, so if we look, resistance is a word that's kind of like a synonym for insurrection, a rebellion. So we know that resistance is the context that helps us figure it out. All right, I'm going to do 7, 8 with you, and I think I did more than I planned on. That's okay. And then I'll have you do 9 and 10 on your own. All right, 7, 8. Teachers often remark that it is the student who shows rigorous discipline in regard to their schoolwork, not the brightest student, which makes the greatest academic achievement. It is the student who shows rigorous discipline. So if they are being disciplined in their work, that's a key word there. Rigorous discipline. I know that they're being strict with their discipline. They're being strict with their work ethic. So question 8 doesn't necessarily ask the context. It says the suffix OUS most closely means what in rigorous? Well, OUS often means full of, and that's part of what we talk about in the chapter 2 video is looking at suffixes. So we know it's full of rigor. Okay, so now hopefully that helps you get started. That gets you at least an 80% since we did that together. So I'm going to go ahead and ask that you do questions 9 and 10 on your own. Again, they're using the same, they're not using the same sentence, different sentences. In here, they want you to know what the word ascertain means. In here, they want you to know what the word dearth means. So use the context in both of those to try to figure out what those words mean in that context, and then when you're done, you'll hit save and submit. You'll be able to review your answers, and it'll also show up in the grade book so you can see how you did. If you have any questions on how you did on a particular skill, let me know. As I said, we went through 8 of the 10 together, so that it was hopefully helpful to you in getting at least an 80%, and then I want to encourage you to do 9 and 10 on your own so that you can either get a 90 or 100. Okay, hope this helps. I will be back in the future with another Mastery Skills Assessment video. Bye.